and today you can call me Showdown Melty, because today we are going back into court, having another trial in Ace Attorney, the first one in the trilogy, yes. We're almost done and it's exciting. Last time we had fun with Lumina, we had fun with the fingerprinting. I enjoyed the fingerprinting, yes. So this one, it seems like we're gonna have to go after, what's his face? The cowboy man. Marshall, ne? Because we found his prints on the scene, well, in the room of the scene of the crime, ne? So he's got some splaining to do. He seems a little fishy. What's gonna happen? I still stand by that. I don't think he killed anybody, but I think he was involved in some shenanigans. So let's uncover what those shenanigans were, shall we? Let's get started. It's been a bit for me, so I'm very excited to be back. Let's do this. February 24th, 9:41 a.m. Okay, let's go. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. I think we're gonna solve that thing. I swear I'm right. I don't... Because nothing else makes sense, right? It has to be what I said. I think that's gonna come to light today. That we find out how Marshall's involved, which that I don't really know, like, at all. And that the guy was murdered in the evidence locker area. Those 2 things have to come out today in court, I think. Yeah. And different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how'd it go? It says Mr. Wright suspects the police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't see capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belonged to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defeat my sister, are you going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? What if we can get Lana off the case, but now we accuse... I don't know. Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. I don't think Marshall did it, though. I don't know why. I just don't think... Because we have... What's her face? Emma and them saying, like, oh, he's a good boy, and... I don't know. I believe them. So, we'll see. Here we go. What's up, Edgeworth? I've missed you, my love. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... What is this? I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Did they know? Whatever. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. It's gotta be what I said. It has to be. Wow. This is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. That's supposed to be an admirable trait. I want to wear my hair like Maya and Emma. You see it a lot, and now you're like, I want to try that out. Very well, let the trial resume. Do you think people would look at me weird? You know what? I don't care. I wear what I want. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness to the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls. The suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. Ishimaru, whatever. Yes, the suspect, you mean the so-called murderer? What are we gonna do with him? Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a Ace Attorney trial. They're always a little crazy like that. What are we gonna say to this boy? He looks like a little doll. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Like a stuffed animal or something? Yes, sir! I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir! My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir! Occupation murderer. Okay. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? You know, look at that face. That's a face of a professional killer, you know? Yep. Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Please stop making that noise. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is, sir, I'm what you would call a part of a younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. How old are you? Wait, how old are you? How old are you saying something like this? I feel like you say that when you're like 13. How old is this fool? 22! Wait, how old is everybody? 33. 33! Eh. I don't know, somehow like edgy? And these people feel around the same age. Which is like late 20s, early 30s. Does Edgeworth feel like 24? I don't think so. But to me, Feeney doesn't feel as old as he is. He's like, what, 20? He's 24 too, right? I don't think so. I don't know. Okay, what? Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. You can't fault them for a lack of enthusiasm. Alright, here we go. He really gives me the Postman from Zelda. They're like the same breed of human, which is not the same breed of human that like you and I are. You know what I mean? Like it's like some deviant moon people or something. Like they're people, but they're not people. Crime reports, sir! Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. Okay. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. We gotta push this. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. We gotta push that too. Because he didn't do it. We all know he didn't do it. He just is an idiot. So, we gotta prove that he didn't do it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. This is not a very solid. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its... Okay, we're gonna push everything. What I need here is more info to work with. Yeah, everything's too vague and weird. I think we can catch him in a lie if we ask for more info. So we gotta press. I'll press everything, why not? I'll even press that. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir! I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Oh. Huh. Yikes! Now there's a scary thought! That's how I felt. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks, not ordinarily... Okay, that makes sense then. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir! The lovely police mascot created by Chief of Detectives, sir. It was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transfer process. You gotta love him. You gotta love him. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. That was a very important mission, wasn't it? You're very valued at your workplace, aren't you? I see. Sounds like a very, important mission. After an award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh. Okay, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Okay. I felt that was more important than I thought it was going to be. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Yeah, what's his ID number? Precisely, sir. I have one right around here, I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? Let me see. There it is, I found it. It's the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh? But the number 4989596 is on here twice. I think the 77777 person. Do you think it's a killer, or do you think it's Marshall? I feel like with a number like that, it could potentially be Marshall. I don't know. What's a Wild West kind of number? All sevens feel like it could be him. Otherwise, maybe it's like the... I don't know. Oh, whatever. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. But the Blue Badger was not there in the evidence room, right? And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. You see? So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir, that was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Alright. Nope, I didn't. I want to push everything. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir, a knife. And that's what cut your hand? Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You weren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Okay. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. Okay, how did you do it, then? What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I don't know. I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. Now that makes sense. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then... His blood? Then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right into my face, sir. Okay, the thing I want to call out, let me just push this. The thing I want to call out is that, so, what I don't understand is if Goodman was killed with the knife that was in Miles Edgeworth's car, does that mean that Goodman had that knife, he brought that knife from Edgy's car with him in the police department? Or is this some other knife? About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins? With regard to that, sir... What is this? Take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. What the heck? Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir? The chief delivered it? What is that? A videotape? A VHS. We gotta get a VHS player. Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from a security camera in the evidence room. Oh. What? but I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. I feel like Gunt is trying to, like, set Miles Edgeworth up. He hates him for whatever reason. This is so unfair for Edgy. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Oh. Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. Video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? I don't want to see this. Huh? This is some kind of like horror movie feeling. So he walked in. This is pretty good graphics for the DS, right? These people are like 3D. I mean, granted, it's, you know. Whoa! There's like violence. Okay, so we don't know who it is. You know what? We don't know who that is. What if the murderer... I take everything I said back. What if the murderer... What if the murderer dressed up as Goodman? That wasn't... Because we know that wasn't Goodman, right? It has to be somebody else. Because if it was Goodman, they would have shown the face. But the reason that this video was sent over to us... I thought that was weird last time, too. Because... Meekins does not know Goodman, so he doesn't know the face of Goodman. So as long as a person disguised themselves good enough, it would be enough to trick somebody like Meekins, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be the killer. Maybe the killer already killed him. Goodman. Took his clothes and dressed up as him. But then what was he doing? I don't know. Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir! It is the Blue Badger, sir! Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone. The evidence room and I sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sure. Mystery Man. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no questioning that other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I don't believe him. I mean, he opened the... Shoot, he did open the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do so. How are we getting through that? The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker. Do you think he had a thumb? That's gross. But the thumb would have been gone off the body, right? Okay, we gotta push, we gotta press. I don't know. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprinted activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have had to have been Detective Goodman. Yeah, how are we getting around this? I don't know where this cross-examination will lead. But everything begins with contradictions. I think we're gonna press. We're gonna press some stuff, because I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't mean to push that one, but it's fine. The face of a man who attacked you with a knife. Yes, sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face. I believe I would be classified as the latter? The latter, but you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm telling you, it's not him, right? I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see? Yeah, it's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I'd bet my badge on it. But you don't know for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people— oh, we said this already, right? Why is everyone looking at me? I had to label your stares as disturbing or— oh, it's not the same. Meekins! Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claimed the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I tried myself all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. The man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to registered fingerprints. Then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir, and this too! How do you know the information? I heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listened to my romantic troubles, sir. Oh, man. For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face. Sir! If I may say something, sir. Please do, after all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense could find a problem with it. Okay, let's find this. Okay. Is there a problem with the security video? There's a problem. Yeah. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there's one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? The contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. Yeah. But this video contains such a contradiction. Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out. Okay. Hold on, Edgy. Hold on. Let me look at this again. Let's check this again. Wait, 7. Okay, the time, right? I didn't think about this. So it's 5:14. Hold on. When did everything happen? When does everything happen? Wait, this one. Okay, well that is the right time, right? When did he die? It has to be times, right? Died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. Shoot. Okay, my theory is that Goodman had to have been killed like around 5. Because this is Edgy's parking stub back at the prosecutor's office, right? So the body would have been in his car by then. We're gonna go with the time. I don't feel solid about it. He would want me to point out. Very well, proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us the contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright! It's set up so you can fast forward and render. Okay. I want to watch the whole thing again. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. I think it's the time, though. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video. How did this guy even become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction in that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? I think it has to be the... But I don't know. I feel like... Wait, was one of the lights on? Hold on, I'll deal with it when we come back around. That light was on. Hold up. That's it, isn't it? That has to be it. Wait, backspace is pause? Okay, and then this. E. Please get it right. That has to be it, right? The thing that's strange about this video is gotta be this! Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. Okay. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. I didn't notice it the first time at all. Like, at all. I was just looking because I was desperate, like, what should I pick? But I do think that Goodman is dead by now. I think so. But then, what? How did he get his clothes? Did he get different clothes? When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind a little to earlier. I feel like these kind of cameras where they go back and forth, you really miss a lot. Like, shouldn't there just be 2 cameras so you don't miss anything in something this important? Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit! Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. He makes like a dog sound. Right? Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. What are you gonna say about that? But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know. It must have broken down. Maybe there's like something pushing in there, you know? Of course, I'm not an expert at this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh well, it just goes to show how novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensor? Something jammed the sensor? Say... There's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. Okay. Locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this. Okay, I'll try. I mean... Doesn't look weird now, right? I don't think so. Maybe something falls out like a paper when he opens the locker. That's the only thing I can think. Like, there's some kind of paper jamming it shut and it couldn't lock or something. Ah! The glove! You saw that. The glove! This. I didn't even pay attention. I gotta be more on the top of it. It's fine, it gave you chances. Please watch closely. This is a continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Silent now. I missed the little sound of the... not beaver, badger. Blue badger. Blue beaver. The glove. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll with great distance when I open my... We can't be sure if the item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Yeah. I think so. Where's the sound? Silence. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor! Oh, I understand now, sir. Just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle store. How? It's tucked into your... whatever. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit the door. Not only that, it would also have to block the electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description. But, sir, by insulator, you don't mean... I think I finally got this figured out. Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? The glove wasn't good enough? The glove, right? I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that it was the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir? It would appear so, sir? His pants are too short, right? You can see too much sock. Order, order, order. See? Why is his pants so short? So we are to believe then the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman. Yeah. Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated the possibility and nothing more. The victim in this video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Huh? Sir, me, sir. I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? What are we talking about? Very well, begin your testimony. What is happening? Mystery Man 2. Electric Boogaloo. There's one thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. What? No. No. We found the evidence, or we found the ID card, like, in the No. Anyone could just take the card and use it. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used as a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. No. His wallet was stolen earlier in the day. We can use, you know what? I bet that was what he was looking, you know, the lost item thingy, right? An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. Means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. The ID used at 514 is that of the victim. The other thing, too, is I think he's already dead by then. But how did he get in there? Shouldn't there be one, like, above here where he was killed or something? I don't know. That doesn't check out quite. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There are only a few cases up for transferal there. Most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination. So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as a stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give it V for victory sign, sir. You have another hand. Couldn't you just use his right hand for that? Okay. As we've seen, one never knows what they might say until the very last second. Okay. Is that card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out of open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck in when I get out of the car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. We have to point out that it could be stolen. Hold on. Where's the thing? Because it doesn't say what it is or anything, right? It doesn't say what the item lost is, which sucks. But I bet it's his wallet and ID card, right? Let me press this, see what he says, and then I might present that at this. But to me, it's a little too loose, but we'll try it. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir, he didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from this contradiction. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I think we present on that last one. I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth is to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show him what we've got. Okay. I think we have to present that. Here. I'm hoping it's this. You never know with things. It went away. Thing went away. I'm out of danger. Wait one moment, Miss Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. Makes sense? No. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room in the police department. I meant the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. A very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. Lost item report? It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime, and he screwed up the ID number, so maybe he forgot it. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe it's something is it to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order, order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. I think so. Order, order, order! Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize this defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are 2 grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yeah, why? What's happening, Edgy? Yes? What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video was fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. Yeah. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Yeah. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago, you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. So he can say this was all before and Lana actually killed him, right? It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video was a fake, which means the murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place in what location? In the underground parking lot? No. It happened before that video. I really think so. The murder being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! It's okay. It's okay, Edgy. Or Feeny. We had to have this happen, I think. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. It's okay. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Windman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object. One moment, Your Honor. It has to happen before. We can argue that it happened before, right? What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proved one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Yeah. However, it cannot be said that unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Ghost print. Specifically, the large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. Yeah. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution has considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Oh, I have to pick? Isn't it obvious? Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Oh, so this is trial part 1 done. Oh, okay. Very well, the court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Woo woo. Okay, that wasn't so bad. First rush was not bad at all. Nah. February 24th, 11:32 a.m. Okay, we know. What's up, Lana? There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. Seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. Okay, well, tone the sass down a little bit, okay? How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me, your baby sis? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh yeah, you came at a great time. What's up, puppy dog? Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You gotta love Gumshoe. You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey. Hey, hey! 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 Didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay, so have you brought what I asked? Oh, oh ho, oh ho ho, oh ho ho, oh ho ho ho. You mean this, right? He's really on top form today, isn't he? My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? What's happening? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? Oh! I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident. But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Lana, thank you. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in the case. Miss Sky was a witness? Joe Dark killing solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now I brought your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma? But why? Why is your name in here? Whoa, 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 hold on. I want to read them now. Hold on. Close. Perpetrator, Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder. Sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall, maybe a papa, sister, no, it's a brother, somebody? So it was personal then, eh? Head prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses, Lana Sky, Emma Sky. Investigation Task Force, Executive Investigator, Damon Gaunt. Gaunt! Lana Sky. Head Investigator, Bruce Goodman. Interesting. There's a lot of people taken with this, right? I feel like Gant did it, right? Because we know Lana is innocent. Bruce died, and I don't think Jake did it. And Angel didn't do it. Because we already did all of her stuff. She's not coming back. She didn't do it. So who else would have done it? It would have been Gant. But I don't know why. I don't know. What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number of the police file under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as a Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark... No, Lana! That's over with! No! Oh, Emma, wait! I thought you passed out. She ran away! You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. How tall is Damon compared to Goodman? Because he's a big boy. But maybe Goodman was too. Do you think that Gant was dressing up as Goodman? But why would he do that? Maybe to get rid of some of the evidence. But why? I don't know. Maybe there was something, maybe Joe Dark or whatever his name was didn't actually do it and it was somebody else or something, but to like protect the name. He didn't want anything bad coming out, so like he did bad things. Gant? I really think it's Gant. I don't really have a whole lot of evidence, but I feel like it has to be him. It's gotta be somebody involved in this case and it can't be the other people. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see too what information we get from Jake now that we have those files. I feel like a lot of stuff's gonna come out. It's very exciting. All right, we back. 12:14 p.m. Let's go. I'm excited. What's Jake gonna say? The court will now reconvene for the trial, Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. That's right. I didn't even look when they panned out. I was looking at Edgy. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge regarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Always with the drinking. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What's a cowboy drink? Water? Maybe whiskey? I don't know. What do these guys drink? Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know, you're a patrol man. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? Never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? Corey, can you stop shaving? I don't like this. It's gross. Stop leaving your little tiny little beard hairs all over the place. It's nasty. According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Alright, here we go. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. We're already starting with, well, I guess it's English, right? But it's something. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Marshall's a bad boy. Wait a minute. And not like a fun bad boy, just like an actual bad boy. What do you mean by 2 security systems? You mean the security cameras and the ID card reader? I reckon every cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks. Ooh, sorry. What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? It's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, don't they now, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. What are we doing? Let's... I don't know. Maybe... What are you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Spaghetti?! I wonder if Papyrus made it for him. Now even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? I mean, eating noodles is very important, let's be real. But don't quit work for that. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. Tacos are good, but they got nothing on noodles. You know what I'm saying? I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want a raise this year?" Yeah, well, I like how I pushed the stupidest part of this, but that's fine. Here, how about this one? I thought he was gonna tell us like around what time he left, and that's why I pushed it. I didn't want to investigate what he ate and what he was doing. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. I think it's weird that each person keeps evidence. Like, shouldn't it be like all the evidence is together in a case? Like, why are there lockers for people to store evidence that are personal and can only be opened by one person? Like, that feels weird. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. Yeah, he did. That's true. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what? Okay. How about that? How about this one? I don't know what to do with him. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall on the day of the crime? Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? So, okay, hold on. We'll just finish this up. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. I think we still use it. How long do fingerprints last? Like the oils on a fingerprint. Can you tell how long ago they were? Because couldn't he say like, yeah, well... Oh no, but there was blood on it. There was blood on it and that would be more obvious, right? So, okay. So we're okay then. How does this guy avoid being fired? So, okay. So we can... We should just present. I don't think we should push anymore because I feel like there's not... How about this? Because he said he was not there when it went down, but he was there to see blood. I also want to know whose blood it was. Right? But, okay, let's... This, right? Here? Okay. Officer Marshall, doesn't this strike you as odd? That is you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is. I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. No! I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood! And blood that wasn't, like, hanging around. Are those healed boots? Did you see that? Were those healed boots? Maybe, no, I guess all boots, like cowboy boots, have a little bit of a heel, right? That's kind of how they're... Right? Or do they? I don't know. I don't know anything about cowboys, okay? Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, the luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with the head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about the fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Okay. Blood-stained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. No, bitch. That's way too convenient. There's no way that it would line up perfect. Come on. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Oh my god, this guy pissed me off. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? That had nothing to do with it. Maybe he is the murderer. I kind of don't think so, though. Right? I don't think so. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. But what was he doing? I still think it's Gant, because he's so mean to Edgy, and this murder involved Edgy. Like, somebody was mad at Edgy and tried to make it like a lot of his things got involved in it. That I think it's Gant for that reason alone. But I don't know what Marshall is doing. I don't understand any of this. Like, why is he acting like this? Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may not cross it. What am I gonna do with this? This guy's hiding something. I can feel. Yeah, he like. I feel like he's talking so far away from what's actually happening or something. It's like, I don't know. Whatever. Here we go. I think we're gonna have to not press, and we're gonna have to present more. Is my feeling. Okay, let's not press that. One of them just happened to be... This is so BS to me, this sentence. So then, what about the bloody handprint? It wasn't mine, it's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened that they lined up exactly Stupid. It's stupid. I don't like that. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? I don't know what to do here. Unrelated! They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How did you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There's a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. We did. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprints. That's the only logical conclusion. I can't let him squirm out of this one. I've got to find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime. And I think it has to come from the evidence. Like, I don't think that we can press him into getting something else. He's not like Meekins, you know? But what the heck is it? I was wrong. We have to press this one because we need information. That's because you... How did you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. And that's all. And all that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. Like, that's also weird. So, like, if he got fired, what would they do? Would they make him open the locker and reprogram it once, like, you know? If he's demoted and he's not a detective anymore, why does he have a locker still? Whatever. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. It's in the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. Was there bloody stuff on the lockers? I think no, there was nothing on any of the lockers, right? So all of that stuff had to happen after. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. What am I going to do here? This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. I feel like this is not where I thought we'd go. Please consider carefully when you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. What if... Okay, you know how I was thinking, like, it was Gant, right? That, like... Maybe it was Marshall. I don't know why he would do that, though. Was he looking into the SL9 incident himself? And because... But I don't... But, okay, maybe it was him. I feel like he's like taunting us, right? We have to use this tape. Hold on, let me check this first. See, there's nothing on these. Oh, we cannot see this locker though, huh? We kind of can though, and there's no blood, right? When did the blood happen? But even there's no blood. I say we accuse him. I think maybe we're gonna say that this is Officer Marshall. It has to be something like that, ne? I think it has to be. Right? But then who's 7777? That also has to come up at some point too, right? And he had the blood on the jacket top part from the boy. What was his name? Meekins. We still cannot see if there's blood on that one. There's stuff here! You saw it, right? I saw it. You saw it? Okay. What? I'm wrong. Shoot. Okay, we have to point out, though, that he was there. That the locker thing. I didn't notice that before. But how do we point that out now? Because obviously it wasn't this. Because it was him. Otherwise, why... What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. No, but we have something, Feeny. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth, the floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could have left the room without being caught on tape. Absolutely. My camera froze. Alright, that was a little fun. So, full disclosure, I had some OBS issues. It said it was recording and then it wasn't recording and the file wasn't there. Just that's a long story. I had to go back. So I've played a little bit of this, but it's okay. We will replay this part together. Okay, here we go. This is where I cut out. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Yes, we already talked about this, that I figured it out. It feels good to know what you're doing as opposed to letting the game lead you and then scrambling. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Okay, let's have another look at the video. Yep, we know. Fast forward. So, he hid the hat and the clothes. He hid his Goodman cosplay in his locker afterward. Nope, not yet. He didn't get there yet. Pause this backspace? Yeah, okay. This. Here we go. Bringing our attention back to the security camera, a mistake I'm afraid you'll not soon forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. I'll do it again, even though it's not as fun. You can clearly be seen in this video as 8. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. I wasn't expecting him to count as well, but he did. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Yes, we know. We saw it. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. Why would you have such a bad security system in place for something so serious, right? Oh, the white cloth, it's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. And I said those aren't heels, those are spurs, so I just want to have that on the record. I thought they were heels. And I did it again! I didn't read what he said! I did it the first time too. It's fine. Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needs to hide something, so you opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb, he really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call you bluff. Yeah, you say open the locker, now prove it. I was so worried that this wasn't the right evidence, because I feel like I don't know. I always feel weird. A fingerprint sensor. I feel like it should have been a pop-up, like, click Y, as opposed to presenting the locker to him. We talked about this earlier today. You just weren't here. The lockers can only be opened by detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff? What do you have to say in 8 words or less? Oh! Oh, what is this? Ripping a piece of beef jerky. Do you guys like beef jerky? I feel— oh, no! He just said no. I don't know what he said before. He's talking about beef jerky, and last time I was talking about friggin' Spurs. I'll look back on the replay. Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. This is new for me, by the way. We didn't go too far. Beef jerky is freaking disgusting, right? It's super gross to me. I don't understand how people can eat this, but maybe it's just a meat eater thing, you know? It smells kind of good. Sort of. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. The smoky ones smell kind of good. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Like, even— it's supposed to be jerky, right? Oh, he didn't pull it. I wanted him to pull it off. Come on, you can do it. Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. Oh god, what's happening now? There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. Oh, we know. It's the only possible conclusion. We talked about him cosplaying. So, well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall? Okay. He was V. V for victim. V for victory. V for Victor Nikolov. The Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. No! Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. But why would he do this? Right? Just to get the thing? Is he in cahoots with Gant, who I'm like doubling down on as the murderer? Is he like an accomplice? Like what's the tea? It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed a detective at the crime scene, but he didn't know. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. You like my voice for him? Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Yeah. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why did he just show it? He couldn't show it because the picture wouldn't look the same. Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown! Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Just gonna eat your beef jerky like a little doggo? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as a victim. We could though, right? Oh, I wonder if he removed it already. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complain. You used that line already. Come on. New material. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as a victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. Okay, good. Because I was thinking, I don't think we have anything. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? I don't know. Is Edgeworth gonna help us? I hope so. It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for the evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it had been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. Somebody else must have been outside the thing, right? According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that the white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside, yeah. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? It's the blood! It's the blood, it's the blood, it's the blood, it's the blood, it's the blood! It wouldn't have mattered if he was dressed up in cosplay or not. It was that he got his shoulder all bloodied, right? It has to be that, perhaps. You can't come out of a room being like, sup, I'm just have blood all over my white coat. Don't worry, nothing happened in there, you know? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. I know. Call on me. I have the answer. Okay. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away a white cloth. Please show us why the witness... Okay, well, it went faster than I thought. Let's go. It's fine. Okay. When did he get bloodied? After the stab. The stabby stab. Huh. Here. This, I knew this would come in handy eventually, ne? Here. Ta-da! For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. Yet? However, something unexpected happened. He touched you with his bloody hand. That was a lot of blood from a hand. Well, I guess maybe it was a deep cut, nah. Officer Meekin barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. That's never coming out. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. I'm working on a coat right now. A sewing project. See if it turns out okay. Now then, Officer Marshall! Are you ready to tell us the truth? I'm too cheap to buy a fancy coat, so I thought I'd make it instead. Look, so I don't know. Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. I can't do an accent, so this is the best you get. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? I'm not over these 22-year-old lawyers. Like, I don't know. Don't you have to be older? Don't you have to go to law school? You're like 22 when you get out of undergrad, right? Like, yeah. You're like 22. So, what? They just went to lawyer school? Where it's like undergrad and grad school? I don't know how it is in Japan. But here, you have to go to law school. That's after undergrad, right? Is it after undergrad? It's after. It has to be, right? Is it? I actually don't. Now I don't know. I thought it was, though. It's like a grad school, but instead of grad school, it's law school, right? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. I don't know now. Now I'm questioning everything. All right. It seems time has come. Let's tango. Marshall's confession. Good start. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. Managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in that evidence room at 5:15. I don't think there was any evidence, or I don't think there was any murder at 5:15. I think there was a murder before. Because I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna show evidence on that last statement with the blood stain. Do we have that blood stain? We probably do. To say like, well, then how do you explain all of this blood? And I don't think Marshall will know about it because I think it was cleaned up before he got there, the blood. So you suppose the victim was really you? But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantity. Oh, okay. Or Edgy can just say it now and take the wind out of my sails. A large quantity of blood were found on the floor in the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. No, not that much blood. Are you kidding? It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Oh, well now what? That's online case, right? When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? That's online incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with a transferal that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case lead's detective can look through that evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? But he was involved, right? His name was in there. Right? Yeah. And I think it was his brother or somebody related to him. That day was my last chance, that's why I... How did you steal it? Where'd you get it? And all this stuff. Tell me stuff. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole out the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. Okay. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint activated the lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could just because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Who's that 777 number? Is that like some kind of like guest account? Maybe he used that and he was there then and that's when it happened? Maybe. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins to knock him out. I managed to escape any which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. Alright. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Alright, I feel like we have to use this, right? But like, I don't know where. Because there weren't. He was the investigator on that. Oh jeez, I don't know what I'm doing now. We were doing so well. I feel like we have to present something on this, right? That maybe there wasn't a murder. Why would we object? I don't think there was a murder then. I think it was beforehand. I don't know. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say it was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins, certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. He's taking a detective for an intruder and demanding to show him his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to... I have... Okay. So you knocked Officer Meekin's out and... I'm gonna push all the statements. I don't want to look yet. Because last time... I thought we had to present something, and then we had to push that first statement, and we got some extra stuff. So maybe we'll get some extra stuff, and we push all the statements, and if it's the same, then I'll look it up. Because I don't want to look it up. I don't want to look up all the time. So you did your research beforehand. Because I looked at the evidence, and I feel like, what the heck are we presenting anywhere? I don't know. I don't think we have enough here, but maybe I'm just wasting time. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If I had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day... Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Okay. Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Okay, we got a new text. Let me push this, and then maybe I'll present the files to this. That it's his relative, right? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out. That's not a lot to go on. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present... Yeah, I think so. What I think is his real reason. If I had a feeling we might have... Well, yeah, we read this before. Okay, okay. This is good. This is exciting. I got this. Okay, we got this. We got this. We got this. Present. This one. E. Officer Marshall. I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. Cactus juice? Isn't that just water? If you rip open a cactus, isn't there just water inside? I would never. I don't hurt plants like that. Maybe they take the rind of the inside of the cactus and like mush it up? I'm against this. Cactus are very cute. I don't think you should be killing them like that, nah. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Is it his papa? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that name. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm gonna go with father. Initially, I was going with brother. But I'm gonna go with father because Edgeworth's dad died. I just think it's always the dads. It's like the moms in Disney movies. I think it's the dads in... Yeah, sure, let's go with that. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award. Oh, it's not his dad. You got... Dang it. It was a brother, wasn't it? What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about King of Prosecutors Award. I want that picture back. I want to see it better. Now I remember Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? Oni-chan. Oh, I was close. I shouldn't have changed my guess last minute, ne? He was my Oni-chan. He was my brother. I'm assuming he's older. He's probably older. These guys look the same. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant and the police, deputy chief of police. Oh my god, they work together. How cute. I didn't realize that this one was the same. The group of detectives The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Wow. Joe Dark. This is not how I thought he'd look. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened in the police department on the day of the crime. Yes. That was the last day the SL9 case would be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. I still don't think that's true. I think that he was murdered earlier. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. Exactly the same time at the murder at the prosecutor's office. This fake murder was going on at the police department. That can't be right. Chance, it's gotta be more than just that. Yeah. Come on, Feeny, figure it out. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was a real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. No! But wait! The verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony is one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. No. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. It's sassy. Oh! I rest my case. No, it has to be what I said. It can't be like that, right? It seems this trial has reached... Oh, okay. Its conclusion, there's no room for doubt. No. Wait. We have to do something. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. What about the blood? There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. It doesn't. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant. Come on, object right now. Yeah. Oh, you! Your Honor, wait! Emma, the defense has an objection. Scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? We are always hanging around teenage girls. It's a little sketchy. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I'm your biggest fan. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Aww. What a kind boy. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it. The names of both Sky sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured it out. If I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No! Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Well, you tried. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. You've got a lot to learn. It's okay, Emma. I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you! Me? Oh boy. Time's up now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident, the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Yeah, when did that happen? Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more of use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... There is, but when did that happen? We don't... That could have been before, because the blue badger was covering it, right? It definitely could have been there and we didn't see it. I remember talking about that when we first looked. Yeah. Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Yes, 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 yes. There is. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes. Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? The blue badger. Yes, something like that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of this blood mark. Do I have to draw it? Let us pray the defense isn't trying to simply buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. All this evidence here. There's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing from the floor? Oh, we don't have to draw, we just present. It's gotta be. What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger, mascot of the police force. Lovable creature. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. I like that. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So? So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Ta-da! Well, what? Edgy nose. That's right, so long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker. And it could have been there before, when the murder actually happened. What? This was good. This was good. I kind of forgot about that other handprint. So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think through it scientifically. We know. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought on. Just a moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st in the police department's evidence room, the blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape taken by the security camera. This is exciting. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which the trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. we have to watch this whole video again? Okay, no. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman, who, when he was really murdered before, and the person who murdered him took all his stuff out of the locker. And that's why it's still missing. And I bet that person was Gant. It's not going to be some random person introduced in the last arc of the story. It has to be him. He's the only other new person. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. But why is Lana lying to protect him? Right? Is she involved in this? Or I don't understand. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that doesn't explain the blood mark found in the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Miss Edgeworth said, this proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present the evidence shows when the first... Okay. Oh shoot, where is it? It's gotta be that list, right? This one. Let me check it before we present it. 420? That's gonna give... If that's... Hold on, what else do we have just to look? It's gotta be that though, right? And this jar will come into place too. The jar that probably broke when he got murdered. Because it fell out of his locker. It's gotta be this. Right? But see, now I hate this though, because now, if the first one is when it took place, then 20 minutes later, Edgy went in there. Wouldn't he have seen a body? Like, what? I don't know. Now we've caught, like, tangled Edgeworth in this. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh! The ID card record. See? Although Meekins went in earlier. Like, so maybe everything was cleaned up by, like, 4:30. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. So Edgy should see the blood handprint, right? If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I hate that we did this. I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. He's being set up 1,010%. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. He got the reward, though. The award, right? It's clear from the luminol test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That's true. That is true. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7s across the board. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. And I bet it was Gant. He tells him, yo, I lost my card. Can you open the door for me? And he's like, yeah. And then he murders him. I think it's him. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77777 belongs to a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such person's identity. But if it's for a murder case, but that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. I'm talking. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how prosecutor office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay, let me ask you a question. Yes? No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana. Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number. It's not 77777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. That's online incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat the question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime within the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me in an investigator in that crime in the eye and say you did that? I'm noticing like his little like hairline is like ziggy-zaggy. Does you think he wakes up in the morning and like makes that pattern? It's kind of cute. I like it. Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. That's so bad. That is so bad, though. Because, like, what if you're forging evidence and... well, it's bad, period. But it would be, like, extra bad when it's, like, what, you're so sure it was Joe? But maybe it actually wasn't Joe and it was Paul. But Paul had you convinced. And then you made forged evidence for Joe and you sent an innocent man just because you were sold on some idea. Like, that's so not okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's a certain arrogance, right? No! Yeah, everyone's freaking out. For her to admit that, I mean, she's going to jail for sure. Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. Oh my god. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Well, yeah. I feel like for someone like that to admit this so publicly, that's not cool, man. I don't like that. What a way to end this VOD, though. Like, dang. Okay. Well, it was rather dramatic, wasn't it? I liked that, though. That was cool. That was cool. It's interesting. This case is actually really interesting, and I feel like the pacing of it is pretty good. In that, I feel like I'm not. I feel like the other ones, like, I either knew or I had no freaking idea, and I needed a lot of help. This one, I feel like I'm able to kind of crawl around until I can pick up pieces and be like, oh, here's a clue. Oh, here's where this goes, or something. I also think that I figured out the body transferal thing pretty early into that, and that's helped figure out the other things considerably, I think. Nah. So, yeah. Next time is the last investigation for this game. We do one more investigation, and then it's a 3-part trial, because I looked up, like, an overall guide of, like, I don't know, how this game's laid out. I don't know if the last... So not next VOD, but the VOD after that will be the last one. It just depends on how long, but I probably will... I'm gonna try to keep that trial into one, because otherwise it might be a little confusing. So we'll see. We'll see. But, yeah! We're really coming down to it. I so think it's Gunn. I really think it's him. I don't like him anyway, so maybe I'm just, like, biased. I don't remember this case. I just know that in trial, we're gonna have to rotate that vase thing that cracked. We're gonna have to rotate it in some way, and that gave me so much trouble. That's legitimately the only thing I remember. But I think it has to be. It has to be him. He did something. Or maybe maybe he was a serial killer. And the guy that they got wasn't. Who knows? I don't know. But all I know is that guy doesn't like edgy. And if you don't like edgy, then you're probably a bad guy. So anyway, until next time I see you, and whatever I see you in. Remember to be kind to others, especially yourself. Take care, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye-bye!